So a lot of people are reaching out and asking, saying, Pat, I'm interested in buying a car, and we have a free paperwork checklist. In fact, oftentimes what we'll do is we'll go ahead and send you the checklist. You forward it to the person that you're going to go ahead and you're interested in buying the car from. They send you pictures of documentation. You forward to us, and we double check it. This is really important because here in Mexico, you don't have the traditional title in the U.S. where you turn in the document and get a new one in your name, or Canada where they go ahead and then generate the registration right there in your name on the spot in 30 minutes or less, like a pizza. Here in Mexico, what happens is you keep the original dealership sales invoice, what's called the factura original, the original factura. And that document on the back of it, each person signs off on the back and says, I release ownership to Bob. Bob says, I release ownership to Sandy, and it goes on. Each time ownership is released, it's the person's obligation to go ahead and go to their respective motor vehicle department and register the vehicle in their name. And they're going to go ahead and pay, depending on the state, a tax. In some states, if it's under a certain amount, they don't pay the tax. But this is really important because here in Jalisco and Nayarit, in Jalisco the tax is 7%, in Nayarit the tax is 3%. So what happens is if people haven't paid the tax, haven't paid the vehicle acquisition tax, and there's names when you buy the car and there's a couple names before yours and it wasn't registered in their name, you get whacked with that. You have to go ahead and pay that 7%, that 3% tax once for yourself, and then another time for the person before you that didn't bother to go ahead and put in their name. Sometimes 3 times, 4 times. So we see a lot with Volkswagen. So it's really important to go ahead and see that. And that's what we also ask. We say we want to see the factura, the original sales factura, and we want to see the last 5 years of yearly registration payments, right? And it's important to verify that because we want to verify that the name typically that's on those yearly registration payments matches up with the most recent owner. Because if we see the car originally was sold to Bob, right, at Honda, and then Bob goes ahead and sells it to Harry. Harry goes and registers his name. So the car is registered in Harry's name, and then Harry sells it to Georgette. Georgette sells it to Daisy, right? And now Daisy sells it to you. If Georgette and Daisy's names are on the back, but they never got it registered, so there's no yearly registration payment in their name, no registration card in their name, you're going to get whacked in certain states with that vehicle acquisition tax that we're talking about. So that's why it's so important to go ahead and verify that your trusted mechanic, the car dealership, they don't know most of this stuff, and especially the guys that, if they're selling cars, they don't care. We have clients where the poor guy, bless his heart, bought a car, we get the paperwork, we look, we go, where's the original sales factura? This is a photocopy, right? And they had made up another document, and we're saying, let's fix this. Let's get the original one. And they go, oh, well, we don't have it. It was messy. And in the end, the car broke down, and the client finally just says, I'm going to take the car back. But they had to pay 40,000 pesos to get the car fixed so they could go ahead and they could return the car and get their money back, which was, let's say, 150,000 pesos. So they lost almost 30%, buying this car that wasn't properly registered because it was going to cost extra fees. So if the paperwork's not in order, oftentimes you have to kind of double check the vehicle mechanically as well, because it might not have been maintained either. Anyways, remember, here with PatsPlatesPv, we go ahead and provide you a free template of the things that you need. And like I said, most of the time we'll go ahead and check that for free for you. You only pay for our services. The big thing that we do to assure you no surprises, or allow you to go ahead and know, okay, if there's some registration that's owing on this, some back registration or unregistered owner's registration, you can negotiate with the seller and say, okay, well, you know what, it's going to cost approximately this. You got to go ahead and eat this or give me a credit off the purchase price. Anyways, we're here for you. Don't hesitate to go ahead and put your questions in the comments. Share some of your experiences buying cars here in Mexico. If you were surprised by something, how the process is different from back home, we appreciate that. That high of mind helps other people viewing on what to do and what to watch out for. Okay? Thanks for watching PatsPlatesPv TV. Have a great one.